Okay, welcome to ICO's Residency Information Session. For those who don't know me, I am Dr. Heather McLeod. I am the Director of Residency Programs at ICO. So tonight I'm going to do a brief overview of why to do a residency, how to apply, and then the majority of time will be spent talking to each coordinator about their programs. And then the remaining time we'll have current residents available for questions as well as questions to the coordinators. So why do a residency? Obviously, if you're doing a residency, you want to achieve advanced clinical competency in that particular chosen area, and you'll enhance your clinical skills. So within that year of residency, you're going to be very busy seeing lots of complex and challenging cases. So it kind of packs in years of experience within that one small year, and you're not doing it alone. You always have a safety net of experienced practitioners who give you assistance and opinions and help you out as you go, so you have that nice safety net. You could do a residency because you want to form relationships either within the optometric profession or with other healthcare providers. So obviously you're going to form those relationships with your mentors, your faculty that you're working with in your residency, co-residents if you have them. Depending on the residency, you might also have students that you are working with. You're also going to be attending optometric meetings and meeting different professionals and leaders in the optometric industries, and then also the MDs that you're co-managing with on these challenging cases. You'll also have more opportunities. So many people are looking for residency trained OD when they're hiring, especially for academia, for VAs, hospitals, working with MD, OD co-practices where there's surgery and referral centers. Certain private practices are only looking for residency trained. It also offers you opportunities to work in industry as well as to give CE. So these are the 5 main types of residencies you can do: primary care, pediatrics, cornea contact lens, vision rehabilitation, and ocular disease. So for these 5 categories, 50% of your clinical and your didactic experience that year will fall within that category. On top of that, residencies can have 1 to 2 areas of emphasis. So you can see there's many areas of emphasis here. Some of them kind of are the same as the main type. So for example, you can have an ocular disease residency that also has an emphasis in refractive surgery or low vision rehabilitation. So how to find a program. I like using the ASCO residency directory. So what's nice about this to find a program is there's many ways to search for the program that would work for you. So with this program, you can search by the type of residency, obviously, but you can also search the location. Do I only want to work in a VA? Do I only want to work in a private practice? You could look at region of the country. I want to stay in the Midwest, or I want to go to California. If you're interested in doing a combined residency or graduate program, you can filter those out, as well as if you want to stay within one institution. So every residency is associated with a school. So if you want to stay with ICO, you can do an affiliated residency with ICO. As well as using the ASCO directory, you'll find it all on OR Match, and that is the site that you're using to actually apply for the residency program. So those descriptions on ASCO show up on the OR Match website, but the search on OR Match I think is a little more limited. So for registering for the match, you pay an application fee, and that covers 10 applications. So you can apply to 10 different programs. If you're interested to apply to more programs, then there's a fee per extra program that you've added. They recommend that you register by December 31st. But something I'm going to have you keep in mind is that every program has their own special deadlines for things. So once you find a program you're interested in, make sure that you check their specific deadlines and requirements. So there are certain things that every application needs, and then the programs can also add on more that they may want from you, or they may have a deadline that's a little bit sooner. So once you find a program you're interested, I would recommend just adding them to your pending applications. If you add a program to your pending applications, the coordinator then gets an email with your name and your email address. So they may reach out to you with more information, or nothing may happen, but it puts you on their list and kind of puts you in their mind. So especially if you're interested in a program and you want to stand out, you can add them to your pending applications early. Now, if you change your mind, you don't want to finish your application for that program, that's fine, you don't have to. So just adding them to the application shows your coordinator that, oh, this is a program they may be interested in. So to complete your application on OR Match, you have to have a letter of intent, your CV, your unofficial transcripts, and then 3 letters of recommendation. And again, a program can ask for more things. This is just general timelines for OR Match. So again, OR Match recommends that you at least register by December 31st. And then the program deadline OR Match has is January 31st. But again, some programs will have their deadline to have a completed application earlier than that. So for example, some of our programs, the deadline is January 15th. So keep it in mind, look at each individual program. Interviews for programs are usually late January through early February. And then after mid-February, you're entering your rankings, and on March 9th, it's match day, and the results are released. So how to be a competitive candidate? So just a few things. Think about who you're asking for your letters of recommendation. You want someone who's going to write you a glowing recommendation, good letters, people that know you really well, that can comment on your clinical experience. Remember to prepare for the interview. This seems obvious, but you can kind of guess what questions most places are going to ask you. So have some answers. You don't want to sound stiff or you're just repeating word for word an answer, but have some idea of what you would say to more general questions that you can guess at. And then reach out to the coordinators early. Express your interest early. Don't wait till your application is completed. So if you're interested in a program, you can email the coordinator. You can ask specific questions you may have about the program. You can ask if they can provide you with additional information, or you can ask for emails of their current residents to get more information. All right, so today we're going to spend most of our time talking about the ICO affiliated programs. So first we're going to start with our hospital, VA, and federal health centers. Then we're going to move on to our private practice residencies. And for our private practice residencies, we have a new one this year, the Center for Sight and Dry Eye Institute. And then we'll end with our on-campus programs. So for each of these, the coordinators are going to have about 5 minutes. I'm going to try to time you to keep you guys on task. And then at the end, we'll open it up to questions for the coordinators as well as current residents. Feel free to type those questions in the chat or unmute and ask. Okay, we're going to start with University of Chicago.
Thank you, Dr. McLeod, for putting this together. Hi, everyone. My name is Patik Amin. I'm the Director of Optometric Services at UChicago and the Residency Program Director. Just an overview of UChicago. It's a globally recognized university with numerous global Nobel laureates and home to over 15,000 students. Adjacent to the academic campus is the medical campus, which is home to a Center for Care and Discovery, treating cancer patients, a newly built level 1 trauma center, and over 600-bed general medical and surgical facility. In total, the medical center sees almost 30,000 admissions yearly. We have a remarkably diverse patient population. 8 of Chicago's 10 lowest income communities are in our primary service area. And as a result, we treat ophthalmic disease across the spectrum of gender, race, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Rounding out the medical center, we have a dedicated children's hospital, as well as a Center for Advanced Medicine. The Center for Advanced Medicine houses all the on-campus outpatient services, including the Eye Center. The Eye Center was newly built in 2018, a state-of-the-art facility with 24 exam lanes, 6 procedure rooms, a faculty conference room that doubles as an educational conference room for grand rounds and educational seminars, and a dedicated pediatric waiting area. We have an imaging suite with the latest equipment, including most recently we obtained the Optomap Silverstone, which adds some B-scan capabilities to the retinal images. This program presents a unique opportunity to train at an academic center with a very collaborative optometry and ophthalmology model. Our core values revolve around respect, teamwork, integrity, and innovation. We all want to foster an environment of support, collaboration, and mentorship between our trainees and attendings. And we realize independence is key as the resident progresses through his or her year. And throughout the program, we encourage thorough exploration of the differential diagnosis process and emphasize evidence-based treatment and management. A brief overview of the program design: about 28 hours a week will be dedicated to medical, adult, and pediatric ocular disease with one of the 4 optometry attendings. In addition, the resident will staff the consult service, a session a week. This includes urgent add-ons throughout the week and weekend. The resident will also join the ophthalmology resident to participate in emergency room consults and weekend consults. However, those are optional, but our current resident has chosen to participate in some of those, and she's seen some very interesting cases there. In addition, the resident will participate in a session with one of the ophthalmology subspecialists weekly. Which ophthalmology subspecialists he or she will be with rotates every 2 months, with the last 2 months of the residency kind of open for the resident to customize based on his or her preference. To complement the clinical experience, we have a robust didactic program with bi-weekly optometry educational seminars, weekly ophthalmology grand rounds, and monthly ophthalmology lectures as well. We have 4 optometrists on faculty, all with different backgrounds and different modalities of training. And I think that creates a very unique team with different strengths that kind of creates a good mentorship model for the resident. Myself, I graduated from the University of Houston and completed my residency at the Albuquerque VA. Dr. Kwan is a ICO alum and completed his residency at Bascom Palmer. Dr. Harris is also an ICO alum and completed her pediatric residency at Children's Mercy. And Dr. Nelson is a NACO alum, but completed her residency at ICO. Complementing our optometric faculty is a robust group of ophthalmology subspecialists covering all the different areas of subspecialty. So I think together creates a wonderful group for the resident to interact with throughout the year. Just a brief overview of our current resident, who's our inaugural resident, Dr. Shannon. She graduated from UAB last year. She was a recipient of the Travel Fellowship this year to Academy, where she presented a poster on neuro-ophthalmic manifestations secondary to metastatic breast cancer. She presented at the Ophthalmology Grand Rounds and will continue to do so quarterly throughout the year. And most recently, she obtained a research grant through the ISPB, in which she will explore incidence of hyphema following MIG surgery. And we hope to present some of these preliminary findings at ARVO in the spring. Contact information, feel free to email me with any questions. Check out our Instagram page. It goes over profiles of our attendings, residency events, as well as the diversity and inclusion events we have that go on regularly. And then Dr. Shannon will be joining at the latter end of the session for any Q&A that you may have. I think that was 5 minutes, Dr. McLeod.
Thank you. Yes. Dr. Brown, are you able to see a button to navigate your slides forward? Or would you like me to do them?
What does the button supposed to look like?
Just like an arrow, a forward arrow. If not, I can do it. You just let me know.
I don't see that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Hi, I'm Jennifer Brown. Sorry you're not seeing me in my work office. You're seeing me in my children's remote classroom from home tonight. I'm the residency coordinator at Jesse Brown VA and then the Hines VA Blind Rehabilitation Center. We are an ocular disease program with also low vision rehabilitation, and we do medically necessary contact lenses as well. So our mission is just to offer clinical experience in the management of patients with ocular disease at a postdoctorate level, and offer the resident a foundation from which to grow their career, whether it be in academics, to conduct research, or practice in a multidisciplinary setting for their skills. We emphasize basic and medical science foundation. We also emphasize critical and analytical clinical thinking skills. And we place a big emphasis on systemic conditions and the underlying pathophysiology and how they can present in the eye. And we have a lot of interdisciplinary communication throughout the departments in our hospital. So just a little bit on the ocular disease portion of the residency. A lot of this occurs at the Jesse Brown VA. It is a hospital-based program. We do have a high volume of patients, so the clinic is never slow and you're always busy. We try to gain your confidence in your clinical skills and critical thinking skills so that you can independently manage complex ophthalmic conditions to the extent that you're comfortable with. And we're able to order our own lab work and imaging and physical diagnosis testing in the hospital. We have a patient volume that has a high prevalence of systemic disease. We interact with both medical subspecialties throughout the hospital and different surgical subspecialties throughout the hospital. And we have a close working relationship with 2 departments of ophthalmology, University of Illinois, Chicago, and Northwestern. So we share an eye clinic with both UIC and Northwestern Ophthalmology. The low vision portion training of the residency program occurs at the Hines VA in their Blind Rehabilitation Center. The Blind Rehabilitation Center is attached to the VA hospital, and it is an inpatient and outpatient low vision rehabilitation center. And the rehab center is a 34-bed unit. A lot of the inpatients will stay for anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks and have in-depth hands-on low vision rehabilitation training. And a lot of the inpatients are mostly legally blind, but they do offer outpatient visits for the low vision rehabilitation as well. The rehabilitation center focuses on a multidisciplinary approach to the low vision rehabilitation, anywhere from the visual skills, mobility, manual skills, also focusing on the patient's ADLs, working with psychology and social work and nurse practitioners to offer a comprehensive, well-rounded rehabilitation for the patient with vision loss. And the goal is to, for the rotations, as far as being at Jesse Brown and Hines, the residents spend 4 months at Hines, and during those 4 months, they're there 3 days a week. And the contact lens portion of the program occurs at the Jesse Brown VA. Here we fit medically necessary contact lenses for a variety of different corneal diseases. And we have a large selection of diagnostic fitting sets from scleral lenses, RGPs, and soft lenses. The weekly schedule is done at both Jesse Brown and Hines. So if you do 2 4-month rotations at Jesse Brown and 1 4-month rotation at Hines, and when you're at Jesse Brown, you're there all 5 days a week, direct patient care in the clinic on Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And Wednesdays is a didactic day. All the optometry attendings have lecture series that they give. A lot of lectures occur on Wednesday mornings. We do have some lectures on the afternoon, and then our development time for the resident to catch up with their follow-ups or also see any emergency or walk-in patients during that time. And then every Wednesday evening, the residents participate and attend the University of Illinois Ophthalmology weekly grand round sessions. When you're on your Hines rotation, you're doing direct patient care in the low vision rehabilitation center on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, a combination of both inpatient intake exams and outpatient low vision exams. Wednesdays, you're at Jesse Brown for the didactic day, and Fridays, you're at Jesse Brown for direct patient care. In addition to the clinical demands of the residency programs, we also have each resident submit for the residency day at the American Academy of Optometry meeting, and they do a grand rounds presentation at the Illinois College of Optometry. We also have them do a journal review around 6 months into the program, where they will take a large journal article, like ages, where there's multiple trials within it, and analyze each trial and do a presentation on that. And then we ask that you create and complete a presentation or manuscript of publishable quality, and including a case report for your Academy Fellowship can be a substitution for this. As part of the program, being the VA, we do offer health insurance. Malpractice is covered through the VA, through the federal tort law. You have off on federal holidays, and you have vacation and sick days. There's no weekend clinic, but sometimes you have to go in every once in a while to do a follow-up for a patient you're following closely. So this is our team of attendings. We have a combined 130 years of experience and really place emphasis on strong mentorship with hands-on experience for your training. All of us have worked in a variety of settings, obviously in the VA, but we've also been part of academic institutions, both optometry and ophthalmology, and have had some work experience in private practice. Dr. Charles Kennard is the Chief of Optometry at Jesse Brown and the co-director of the ocular disease portion. Dr. Peter Russo is the co-director of the low vision rehabilitation portion. I am the residency coordinator. And then Dr. Michelle Marciniak is one of our attendings and is the student externship coordinator. Dr. Victoria Butko is one of our attendings, and she's the contact lens director. Dr. Lauren Riston is one of our optometry attendings. Dr. Michelle Lee is an optometry attending, and Dr. Ginden is also an optometry attending. We encourage you to please contact us for any interest or questions you have about the program. Feel free to email me at any time, and I'll do my best to get you all the information you need and answer any questions you have about the program. I've also included both Dr. Kennard and Dr. Russo's contact information, but we do have a website that has a lot more information about our program. Please visit our website, and I would love to discuss the program more with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, I'm Shelley Kim. I'm from the Captain James A. Lovell Federal Healthcare Center. We are about 15 miles south of the Wisconsin border, and we have a primary care and ocular disease optometry residency. So our location is here. Like I said, we're 15 minutes from the Wisconsin border. We can go to the next slide. So our mission is a little bit different than the average VA because we are part Department of Defense, which means that we have active duty military staff, and we are part VA. So our mission is readying warriors and caring for heroes, leading the way for federal health care by providing a quality, patient-centered experience and ensuring the highest level of operational medical readiness. The Great Lakes Naval, we can go to the next slide. The Great Lakes Naval Hospital was built in 1960, and that was completely demolished in 2013 to make our new site, and you can see that there. Okay, so we're one of a kind because I mentioned before, we're part DOD and we're part VA. So we have one military resident, and then we have one position for a civilian resident. So Dr. Aiden Stubbs is on the left. She is a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy. She's one of our residents currently, and then the other resident is our civilian, Dr. Claire Scorseth. Our clinic is partially manned by civilians, but it's also partially manned by our Navy corpsmen, which you'll see on the right side. They come in uniform, so a lot of our hospital, you'll see military corpsmen actually in their camouflage uniform. Dr. Aiden Stubbs also, you'll see her in her camouflage as well. So some of the objectives of the residency program at the FHCC is what we call it for short. We offer the residents to attend one large optometry conference, and it typically ends up to be the Academy conference. This year, they'll probably end up going to 2. They went to Academy, and since Optometry's meeting is in Chicago, they'll probably go to that one as well. Every Thursday afternoon, we offer a weekly educational series. These can be really anything from guest lectures from rheumatology to dietitians coming to speak to us. We have the optometry faculty give lectures as well. We have a monthly journal club, and they're resident-led, so the resident will choose the article, disperse it to the faculty and student externs, and then they'll lead a journal club discussion. One of the requirements for the program is that you see 1,500 patients, and usually the numbers are well above that. The residents are required to do a ground rounds presentation at ICO, and then we offer opportunities for research. One of our faculty, Dr. Richer, has a research lab where he does a lot of vitamin D and nutrition research. So we welcome residents to work in there. We offer a one-day tour at the Hines and Milwaukee Low Vision Centers. And then you can rotate through the other specialty clinics at the FHCC as well. Some of the rotations that you can go to are primary care, neurology, rheumatology, endocrinology, dermatology, radiology, podiatry, and we ask that when you rotate through those clinics that you pay particular attention to how these specialties might affect the eyes. So this is a sample schedule of the residents. I listed them both as DoD, but one should be the DoD resident. So our military resident will start off as a DoD resident, and then the other one is the VA resident. Every 3 months, the residents will switch schedules so that they get different ophthalmology rotations. The DoD resident will start off with our retina specialists, I believe. And then the VA resident will start off with our general ophthalmology, and then 3 months into the program, they switch. At 6 months, they'll switch again, and at 9 months, they'll switch again. And then here's the front of our clinic. So ophthalmology and optometry, we share a space. We have different front desks, so patients will check in at their respective clinics, but we're connected by a common imaging suite. So we have 7 optometry exam rooms. One of the benefits of having it be part DoD is that all of our equipment gets updated every 10 years, whether it's functioning or not. So we have all of our automated phoropters. We have the Opto Silverstone. We actually have 2 Optos. The one on the left is probably going to head up to the ED soon, the emergency department. We have 2 OCTs, a Pentacam. We've got 2 B scans. And then here's a picture of Dr. Richer's research lab. And then we do have a treatment room. Ophthalmology uses it the most, but optometry residents are always welcome to shadow in there. You might see a YAG or an SLT. And there's a posterior fundus camera as well. And then we have a visual field room, which is manned by our active duty corpsmen. And then there is an optical shop. We have civilians working in there, and so the optometry residents, we just write out the prescription and send them over there, and they'll help them pick out the glasses. And then we have basic low vision services. We don't offer services like CCTVs and things like that, but handheld magnifiers, we do a lot. Filters for TBI patients, we do a lot of those as well. And then here's our faculty. So I'm on the left, there's Dr. Richard, who is heavily involved in research, and Dr. Gamboa, who's part-time at the hospital, part-time private practice, and Dr. Sarah Rogers, who also is part-time at the hospital and part-time private practice. And then we have our active duty military resident, Dr. Aidan Stubbs, and our civilian resident, Dr. Claire Skorseth, who will be joining us later for the Q&A.
Thank you.
Can you just change my slides for me, Heather, when?
Yep, you can let me know when you want it changed.
Okay, all right, thanks. Well, hello, everyone. This is Doug Wallen. I'm the residency coordinator at Vance Thompson Vision in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We're a private practice, tertiary and secondary surgical facility comprised of optometrists and ophthalmologists. We have an ambulatory surgery center on site. And our residency is an ocular disease residency with an emphasis on cataract, cornea, glaucoma, and refractive surgery clinical care. We're ACOE accredited, and we're affiliated with ICO, obviously. Our residency is a fairly demanding residency. Our residents will see somewhere in the order of 2,300 to 2,800 patients throughout the year. They work alongside with an ophthalmology anterior segment fellow as well. They become a very close working relationship, and by the end of the year, they are operating independently with that fellow handling the surgical cases and ocular disease that we see in our center. We have a very robust research program as well, and you can go to the next slide if you want, Heather. Our research is, we have anywhere from 12 to 16 clinical trials going on at any one time, whether that be in glaucoma or cataract or refractive surgery, some dry eye as well. And so large volume of ocular disease and surgical care. We collaborate with other OD residencies, and our residents spend a lot of time meeting other optometrists and ophthalmologists around the country. They'll usually attend anywhere between 2 to 3 meetings, submit posters and present those at those meetings. We have 5 symposiums that we do for our co-management network throughout the year at our different centers. The residents practice solely at our Sioux Falls location. We're a city of about 200,000 people, and like to think that we have as good a food as some of the other big cities, but we have pretty good food here, and a lot of opportunity for recreation and being outdoors. And so our residency also emphasizes a team culture that's a little bit different. We have a team culture as well as our patient experience, that we spend as much time in clinic working on. And we like to call it our work family, and we really function as a family, and we try our very best to make the patient experience the best that it can be, and in fact unparalleled as what you'll find in medicine. And it's one of the things our residents really enjoy. And so from our perspective, it's a private practice. You see patients in the clinic 4.5 days a week. You have a half day out of every week where you build your own clinical schedule over time. So our residents accelerate very quickly from observation to mentoring to independent care of patients. And really the last 6 months, they're functioning very independently with our staff doctors. You can go to the next slide. These are our current residents right now, Dr. Salvador Gonzalez and Dr. Sarah Stockwell. And this is our first year of having 2 residents. It's our 5th year of our residency, but our first year of having 2. So we get 2 that rotate through our clinical galleys. In our clinical galleys, we have 28 exam rooms over 3 specialty galleys. They rotate through each one of those galleys once every month. So they may be in a galley that has an emphasis on cornea and glaucoma for 1 month, and then maybe cataract and refractive surgery in the next month. And Sal and Sarah are doing a great job, and we're really glad to have them this year. And if there's any of you have any questions, Googling Vance Thompson Vision, you can go on our Instagram or Facebook page and find us there. Our VTV family has some pretty interesting videos on there as well, so we have a little bit of fun in between seeing all these patients. So if you're interested, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you, and thanks for the time for coming on tonight and talking about our residency.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
All right. My name is Tom Cruz. I am the residency director at Insight Vision Group out in Denver, Colorado. We actually have a couple locations, but the main locations are Denver, Colorado, and Parker, Colorado, which is about 20 minutes south of downtown Denver. We are in our first year of having a resident in ocular disease with emphasis of cornea, glaucoma, and surgical co-management. Our current resident is Dr. Ashley Esser. She's actually an ICO alum and doing a great job for us this year. We should have our accreditation meeting sometime in March or April. So barring any hiccups, we'll be fully accredited at that point. Our resident, we're a true private practice out here in Denver, high volume, really only referral-based center with hundreds of optometrists referring into us. We have 3 corneal specialists, 2 glaucoma specialists, all fellowship trained, 4.5 optometrists on staff to see many surgical cases. So the resident really gets kind of thrown in from day one, seeing their own patient population, cataract post-ops, emergent care. They do have on-call duties that really get their brain thinking of how they kind of manage on the fly. We have our own surgery center that also houses oculoplastics and retina, along with our glaucoma and cornea. So residents are able to see any type of surgery they probably would ever want. On the slide here, my one and only, you can see the building on the left, the Denver location, is that actually also has retina in it, plastics. It will house, we're moving our LASIK center into there at some point here in the next year. So that'll be basically just a 15,000 square foot eye facility. And then the Parker location will just be eyes and no retina or plastics in that building. So like I said, the residencies, a high volume number of patients, emergent care. They do rotate through corneal clinics with MDs, glaucoma clinics with MDs, oculoplastics, and retina. So you can basically see whatever you want to see. We do not have neuro on staff or pediatrics. So if you're looking to come to Denver to see children, you're going to be sorry about that. We don't see really anybody under 16 to 18 years old. So we don't fit any contact lenses. The only contact lens you'll probably fit is a bandaged contact lens after taking out a piece of metal. And you really won't write a whole lot of prescriptions just because we send all those back to our referring doctors. So along with patient care and some on-call duties, Grand rounds with ICO is a requirement. We do require a publishable case report. But outside of seeing, patients in clinic in a high volume, fast-paced private practice clinic, plenty of stuff to do in Colorado. So whether you want to ski a mountain or go to one of our craft breweries, I think we're second to California at like 350. So, and we do have Peyton Manning still in Denver. So all the football fans will love that. So if you have any questions, I'm always available. Email me. I can put you in touch with Dr. Esser too. So some of you might know her, her being an ICO alum, but would love to hear from you, and anybody's welcome out to Colorado. So thanks, Dr. McLeod, for setting this up.
Thank you.
All right, let me see if I can, yeah, I think I'm controlling the slides now, right, Dr. McLeod?
Yes, please.
Okay, I got it. So Mark Woobelt here. I'm representing Minnesota Eye Consultants. We're located in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities area in the Great White North. Our residency is mostly anterior segment based, so cornea, glaucoma, perioperative care of those cornea and glaucoma diseases, as well as some urgent care. So a little bit of background on our residency and our clinic just in general. So Dr. Lindstrom, Richard Lindstrom, who recently retired this last year, founded Minnesota Eye Consultants in 1993. And he's kind of one of the forerunners of collaborative care between ODs and MDs. So we have a lot to be thankful for him for kind of where our optometry ophthalmology relationship is today. At our practice, we have 12 ophthalmology surgeons, 5 cornea, 4 glaucoma, and 3 oculoplastic surgeons. 11 optometrists, most are residency trained. And our optometry team really works in conjunction with the ophthalmology team to collaborate with essentially all of our patients, whether they're patients that we're following up with in clinic or we're managing surgically. As a tertiary care clinic, we are referring most of their patients back to their referring optometrist after they're stabilized from their acute disease or surgery. But our optometry team does, again, a lot of the co-managed care. Many of us do some specialty contact lens fittings. Because we have 5 corneal specialists, we get a lot of warped corneas coming through. And I guess to piggyback on that, as far as our residency is concerned, it's not a contact lens residency, but if there is interest in specialty contact lens fitting, we can definitely get you set up for some good scleral lens patients. Also do a lot of dry eye care with our optometry team, and then post-operative care, and then we do a little bit of comprehensive care as well. Also in our clinic, we are a private practice academic clinic. So we have fellows in our clinic. We call both of our optometry and ophthalmology team kind of fellows in the clinic, just to not confuse patients and other staff. But we have 2 ophthalmology fellows, 1 glaucoma and 1 cornea, and then 2 optometry residents. So the residency was started 27 years ago. We started to have 2 optometry residents just this past year because we had such a high volume of patients for our residents to see that we kind of figured it would just be even better and more synergistic if we had 2 instead of 1. So it's going really well this year. I think it's really helpful to have a buddy in the system and kind of way to bounce ideas back and forth. But on top of that, the ophthalmology fellows and the optometry residents really, I think as Dr. Wallen from Van Thompson Vision had kind of said too, that in our kind of system, they are really paired up together with call duties and urgent care, that they really form a great bond and really helps each side to understand each other a little bit better. So these are our currently our 5 locations. I made the big stars, basically the 3, so the one further west, south, and east. Those big stars are locations that the residents primarily will go to. The one in the middle, our Minneapolis location, will actually be closing because it's adjacent to the Phillips Eye Institute, which is going to be closing this year. And then the one up in Blaine, no one goes to because it's basically just up in Canada. So our one in Bloomington here, there's a picture of that clinic, just to give you just a really quick tour. There's the one in Minnetonka. And then one of our newest clinic in Woodbury that was built 2018. So our clinic should have basically all the bells and whistles that one needs to really have a good, thorough, comprehensive eye clinic. So we do all the dry eye procedures, the tear care, IPL, LipiFlow, et cetera, et cetera. We have lots of scleral lens fit sets. We have all the cornea and glaucoma equipment you need. As far as procedures, we do, most every glaucoma procedure. Dr. Tom Samuelson is one of our glaucoma specialists. He's the lead author on the eye stent. So we see lots of MIGs coming through. LASIK, PRK, again, full scope of cornea procedures, and also a surgery center at every location. This is I guess I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I kind of skip over the slide, but kind of a typical week in our residency where every day is a little bit different in different mentored clinics. So about half the time is an autonomous clinic where you're seeing your own patients, you're the doctor. We always have someone there for backup for a second opinion, but you're not checking in and out with an attending like you are as a 4th year. And you're seeing a large plethora of patients, so urgent patients, medical exams, and your follow-ups as you're starting to build your clinic throughout the year, post-op visits, and some comprehensive exams. And then the other half is in mentored clinic with most all of our MD and OD staff are mentors in your clinic. So you're going to see dry eye, specialty contact lenses, and then also in specialty MD clinic, you're seeing glaucoma, cornea, and a little bit of oculoplastics, not too much. But in those clinics, you're not shadowing, you're working alongside the mentors and seeing their patients kind of out in front of them as they're also working through their clinic. Also opportunity for surgery shadowing. Don't want to bore you with too much surgery, especially like, if you see a few cataract surgeries, you're okay. But as much as you need to kind of see at least one of everything. And then there are on-call duties, which comes out to about every 3rd week that you are on call for the clinic. There is one of the ophthalmology fellows is always on backup call with you. So any questions that you have or anything that needs extra consults, they're there also at your fingertips. Opportunity for research during the year, as well as we have journal clubs in the Twin Cities area. Between both our Minnesota Eye Consultants Clinic has quarterly journal clubs where we get together and review some relevant journals, as well as our Twin Cities Optometry Residents group. I believe we have 5 in the area. We all have a great time getting together and learning from each other. So here's some information if you guys have any questions. Our current residents are Samantha Lee and Lauren Larson, and again, I'm Mark Buboltz, and feel free to answer, ask any and every question that you have.
Thank you. Wait, my presentation disappeared.
Hi, Mark.
Oh, hey.
This is Mark. Perfect. Thanks, Dr. McLeod. Are we good?
Yep, you're good to go. Thank you.
Oh, good. Well, thank you everyone for joining tonight. And as a new guy on the stage, we sure are honored to share such a stage with such great clinics and opportunities for you as residents for us. We are our new residency site. This will be our inaugural year starting in July of 2022. And I'm Austin Liffer. I'm the residency director at Center for Sight. We're a one center setting, private practice co-management center. And we're just north of Indianapolis in a city called Carmel, Indiana, conveniently located to shopping, airports, great restaurants, so forth. A little bit about our center. Let's see, this is the most recent photo I found. So sorry, this is our Halloween day at Center for Sight. Don't be too alarmed. Here's your doctors you'd work with. Myself and Dr. Beffrus, we've both been out practicing for about 20 years. We both graduated from Indiana University. He went on to do his ophthalmology training and residency at Emory University. I did my residency in Huntington, West Virginia at the VA Medical Center. And we've both been practicing for about 20 years, as I mentioned, with a similar philosophy of taking care of the patient, that each patient matters. And he has a really great clinic here and a reputation among the community. It's about a 6,400 square foot building, like I said, one center setting. And we have 6 to 7 exam lanes with 4 to 5 workup lanes. We have a conference room, which is really helpful for patients, for education, for the procedures, and also for local ODs. And this is when we had a conference last night. Usually we get 10 to 14 ODs from the community come in, and we do it usually the third Wednesday of every month. Really great opportunity to share some pearls we have in the clinic with ODs. It's a great way to learn. The resident would have this opportunity to at least 2 times, and 3 if interested, to share a case presentation in a smaller group setting like this, which I feel for me is a great way to get prepared for further opportunities for in academia or academy, other settings like that. So it's a really great, friendly, cooperative setting to learn and share what we're learning there. So we have 5 exam workup lanes for the technicians. And the residency is ocular disease residency with emphasis in corneal refractive surgery, dry eyes, and glaucoma. So this is LPD, IOL master. 4 out of the 6 exam lanes have computer monitors, still lamp cameras, which is helpful for patient education. We have a minor procedures room where they do lumps and bumps removal. Also, this is where we'll do the SLT, capsulotomies, iridotomies. It's all in office, so it's conveniently located for the patients and the providers. This is the RX site for the light adjusting lens design, where we can do photo modulation for patients who have had light adjusting lenses during cataract surgery, and by using UV light, refocus their vision afterwards. This would be something that resident would have an opportunity to participate in as well, be trained in that for light adjusting lens. And also in the building, we have a full LASIK suite, which is one of the specialties for Dr. Beffrus, which a patient can observe, of course, and watch be a part of. In addition to the comprehensive ophthalmology and medical optometry, which we practice, we also have a new Dry Eye Institute as part of the practice. And this has really been a great opportunity. It's been growing pretty quickly in just a short amount of time. But with the LipiView and the Dry Eye Suite, each of the exam lanes in the Dry Eye Institute have obviously a slit lamp camera, which is nice. And we found this so helpful as far as patient interaction education to make sure they can see what we're looking at. That helps out with their diagnosis, their understanding, their adherence, and the photos like that. So it's really a great opportunity for learning and teaching for the resident that they'd have there. Oh, I lost control here. Okay, and then after the testing and the education, they go to the procedures room, and this is where we have all of the dry procedures that we find helpful for IPL or low-level light therapy, photobiomodulation, thermopulsation like LipiView and tear care, for example. We also have a new aesthetics line, so the Morpheus 8. So for radio frequency procedures, for lid tightening and facial restructuring there for the patients. So like I said, we're a new site. We would love for you to consider us. If you're having questions, feel free to email me or call me or text me. We'd love to have you consider the site as a center where you can prepare yourself for future opportunities in working in primary care or a co-management center in a private practice setting. Thank you, Dr. McLeod.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Nicole Harris, and I'm here to talk about our ocular disease residency at Associated Eye Care in Minnesota, in Stillwater and Woodbury, which is just east of the Twin Cities. The program is ran by Dr. Jacob Lang since it started in 2014, and then I've also been helping out since completing my residency at Associated Eye Care the summer of 2020. Here is a quick overview of some of the program details. We always start the week after the 4th of July, and the program runs for 54 weeks. So that allows for 2 weeks of overlap with the previous resident to try to, get you comfortable with the EHR system and clinic flow and things like that. The goal of the program is to provide advanced clinical training in the treatment of ocular diseases, clinical research, surgical co-management, and perioperative care. With our integrated eye care model, it allows the resident to work in conjunction with both optometrists and ophthalmologists in a pretty high-paced private practice that encounters a wide range of ocular pathologies. We're excited for next year. We're actually going to be accepting 2 residents this upcoming residency cycle, and in the past, we've always just had the 1 resident. Here's a quick overview of some of our benefits, salary, PTO, things like that. All that information is also listed on the OR Match website. I think we're both controlling the slides. There we go. So along with clinical experiences, the residents also encouraged to lecture and present case reports and participate in seminars in conjunction with ICO, Associated Eye Care, and as well as local and national conferences. Like Dr. Buboltz mentioned, we also all get together to do journal clubs within the Twin Cities to get together with some of the other residents, which is always nice. We also have 4th-year students that rotate through Associated Eye Care, so there's some opportunity to help precept if that's something you're interested in. Along with the normal clinic, we also have after hours on call time that about every 3 weeks, and that runs from Friday after clinic to the following Friday morning. And that week, then you also work that Saturday morning to see post-op patients and urgent care patients. We have a broad range of subspecialties, including pediatrics, glaucoma, retina, dry eye, cornea, and anterior segment, as well as refractive surgery, cataract surgery, glaucoma surgery, cataract surgery, things like that. We also have a great group of providers that you get to work with and be mentors throughout your year at Associated Eye Care. For the first month or so, you work in shared clinics and rotate working through with all the different providers before starting your own clinic to, again, kind of get yourself comfortable at Associated Eye Care. And then the pace picks up pretty quickly after that first month or so. So as far as our comprehensive ophthalmologist, we have Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Goddard, and Dr. Park. They're all comprehensive ophthalmologists, do cataract surgery, and Dr. Park and Dr. LASIK. The comprehensive ODs work alongside all the ophthalmologists for co-management, comprehensive care, kind of you name it. Dr. LaValle, the first one here, he is also in charge of our 4th-year residency or 4th-year externs. And he is also a former resident of Associated Eye Care. And then Dr. Feeder, Dr. Lang, and myself again. Our glaucoma team is made up of our glaucoma surgeon, Dr. Tiener, and then our glaucoma OD is Dr. Capel. Some of our specialties include cornea with Dr. Vishlashel, retina with Dr. Downey, and Dr. Wu is also a comprehensive ophthalmologist, but also does oculoplastics. And then lastly, our pediatric team is made up of Dr. Schloff, Dr. Lynch, and Dr. Hickson. Dr. Schloff and Dr. Lynch do also strabismus surgery on adults and children, and Dr. Hickson also runs our concussion clinic. So you'll have opportunities kind of work with all ages, more or less pediatrics if you're interested in it. It's not a huge part of the residency. Our current resident, Dr. Marie Hugel, she's a 2021 grad of Southern College of Optometry and is spending the year with us for her ocular disease residency and doing an awesome job, seeing lots of cool things. As a resident, you see mostly urgent care, ocular disease, lots of surgical co-management. She will be on later to answer questions if anybody has any for her. As part of the residency, we also strongly encourage participation in national and local meetings. Here on the left is Dr. Hugel at Boston, at Academy in Boston, presenting a pretty cool case. And then in the middle is Dr. Schmidt, who was our resident last year. We participate in a grand rounds meeting, or resident grand rounds at the Minnesota Optometric meeting each year. And we're hoping Dr. Hugel is able to keep the trophy at Associate Eye Care this year. As far as locations, we have locations throughout eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. So it gives you a mixture of both kind of suburbia and rural clinics. The two main clinics are our Stillwater and Woodbury office, with Stillwater being where our surgery center is and LASIK, and Woodbury being kind of one of our larger clinics that also has lots of the pediatrics, and then also Hugo, Hudson, New Richmond, and then we also see patients out of the hospitals in Baldwin and Amory, which is a good exposure to some more urban or some more rural eye care. As a resident, though, you'll spend majority of your time at either our Stillwater or Woodbury clinic. Right now, Dr. Hugel spends majority of her time at Stillwater and is in Woodbury 1 day a week. When there's 2 residents, it'll be a kind of a 6-month rotation where you spend 6 months in Stillwater and then 6 months in Woodbury to have experiences at both of those clinics. And then also traveling to some of the other clinics just for shared clinics or having exposure with some of our other specialties. Along with great providers to work with, we also have a great staff, and workplace culture is important to Associate Eye Care and having fun at work. So here's just a few examples of that. This is Halloween this year, which is always a big to-do at Associate Eye Care, where we have a Halloween contest each year. This year for solo costume, Colonel Sanders won, and I'm not proud to admit that I'm part of the Tiger King gang down in the corner, but we did win first place. And then we also do an ugly sweater competition, or in Dr. Lang's case, always an ugly suit around the holiday season. And being right on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin, of course, we have our friendly border battle that is coming up this weekend, and that's always a fun couple weekends at the clinic. So if you have any questions, here's some good contact information for some previous residents. Courtney handles most of the administrative stuff for the residency, so her email is listed there as well. And then, like I said, Dr. Hugel and I will be around later for questions. Otherwise,
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McLeod.
Hello, everyone. This is Andrew Kornaus. I'm the program coordinator at Davis Stewart Dean in Madison, Wisconsin. And I just have a few slides put together to introduce our residency to the group. And let's see. Next slide, there we go. So a little about our practice. Davis Stewart Dean started out as Davis Stewart Eye Associates, which was a multi-subspecialty ophthalmology practice based in Madison, Wisconsin. Earlier on and through the 50s, 60s, and onwards. Eventually, the practice they had been acquired by Dean Medical Group, and that formed Davis Stewart Dean, which formed kind of a larger network of multiple optometry sites throughout southern Wisconsin, which then had the central hub based out of the Davis and Dewar Eye Care building in Madison. And then we had been affiliated with a large hospital network based out of St. Louis, Missouri called SSM Health, and are officially run by them at this point. And A little about the residency itself. It began in 1999 with the original goal of increasing optometric experience with pre and post-operative surgical care for eye patients and how to manage complications of certain procedures. And that's still an emphasis in the residency, but it has really evolved to include anterior segment disease management and medical contact lens fitting as well as kind of chief goals. As far as highlights of the residency, the structure we have at the clinic is really, you're mainly at the main hub building in Madison, which is a multi-subspecialty practice with an on-site surgical center. So a lot of your time is going to be spent with the cornea specialist, Dr. Chris Crosdale, and you spend most of the clinic time there really working with patients firsthand. You'll see them after they've been worked up by the technical staff, be able to see kind of a wide range of anterior segment conditions and pre-post operative evaluations with pretty much every corneal surgery under the sun, which is pretty cool. But then there's also times that you could work in or shadow other of the subspecialties in the clinic that are offered there, such as glaucoma, retina, oculoplastics, and pediatrics. And then there is some time that you would have your own clinic time to be able to see mainly medical contact lens cases and their follow-ups, as well as any urgent add-on visits or routine type of eye care. And we have several different scleral designs, but to name a few of them we have in-house would be the Europa from Visionary Optics, Synergized VS, Zen Lens, and Custom Stable, several RGP designs, and the main hybrid Synergized designs to work with for irregular corneas. And kind of one of the neat things about the medical contact lens clinic that you do as a resident here is that there's a lot of crosstalk between the cornea subspecialty clinic and your clinic, as far as being able to send patients back and forth and kind of follow their care from the cornea specialist side of things, and then fitting the lenses side of things. So you kind of get it from every angle, which is pretty neat. And some other things over the course of the residency year, you do have the opportunity to give some lectures. Grand rounds at ICO. We aim to try to do that right in the fall, and that's one of the required things that we do. That's been a lot of fun. And there's also an in-service lecture you give to the ancillary staff here as well. And then the clinical challenges lecture in the spring, and that's actually to local optometrists in the Madison area. As far as research, we do require one publishable quality work, ideally in original research or in a case series or case report, depending on kind of the very interesting kind of things you might see or work with over the course of the year. And then we have you go to several conferences to further enhance your clinical knowledge and training, including the Gas Permeable Lens Institute, American Academy of Optometry conferences, and Global Specialty Lens Symposium, all those having kind of a special emphasis in learning and troubleshooting medical contact lenses as well. And you are certainly encouraged to go to more conferences than that if you'd like to, but those are the three that are required. And then with the in-house surgery center, you do have an opportunity to shadow surgeries on site, which is pretty neat. So typically corneal surgeries, retina surgeries, and strabismus or oculoplastics type surgeries like brow lifts and things like that are all things that you'd have opportunity to be able to shadow a day or a few days to see what those are about. It's just kind of an interesting thing to be able to see, and then see the patients afterwards, potentially after, post-op, and kind of helps to be able to explain more or less what they're getting into. This is a picture of our clinic building. And then this would be an exam room with a lot of specialty lens stuff kind of spread out, or how it might look depending on how you get everything set up to work with a patient. And another view of our building from the outside in the springtime. And wanted to thank you for your time and attention. If you want more information, I'm more than happy to, if you get in touch with me on my email there, I'd be happy to answer any questions you can think of. And there's our contact information for our current resident, Rich Martin. And that summarizes really quickly our residency program.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Dr. McLeod, are my slides up?
Yes. Would you like me to switch them, or are you going to take control?
That would be great if you want to switch them for me.
Okay, great.
So welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kara Crumblis. I'm the residency coordinator for the Illinois College of Optometry program with emphasis in low vision rehabilitation and secondary emphasis in geriatrics and ocular disease. So a quick overview of the program. It is a low vision emphasis with 4 sessions a week, primarily direct care, as well as a semester or a quarter of lab instruction, where you instruct the second year optometry students at the Illinois College of Optometry through their lab series in low vision. It is a mix of pediatrics and adult low vision care, pediatrics being about 20% to 25% of the low vision care that you'll experience. And I think that is unique to our low vision program, as well as a significant emphasis in adult low vision, which ranges from working age adults with inherited retinal disease to elderly adults, with the average age of patient for the year being about 63 years old, or you're young. Your ocular disease sessions are 3 sessions a week at the Illinois College of Optometry, Illinois Eye Institute. Those are rotations in geriatrics at least once a week, and then glaucoma, retina, and neurooptometry. Our residents are expected to do urgent care, 1 session weekly, a session being a half day. And each resident takes an average of 4 weeks on call during the 53-week program. Each resident has a half day of development once a week to work on your charts. There is some precepting that can come later on in the year, as well as to prepare for weekly conferences and grand rounds. Residents present 3 grand rounds in each of fall, winter, and spring quarters, so 3 total. And what's unique to the residency is that because it's on the campus of Illinois College of Optometry, as well as at the Chicago Lighthouse, residents can elect to do electives within the Illinois Eye Institute starting as early as winter quarter. Those can be in primary care, cornea and contact lens, pediatrics, or developmental disabilities. A requirement to complete the program is to complete all of the required sessions, as well as to prepare a paper publishable quality. We do encourage and assist with research, and many of our residents have received Illinois Society for Prevention of Blindness research grants to conduct research, generally in the field of low vision. But if residents have an interest in that, we do encourage it, and we'll work to mentor them through that. Next slide. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. So one of the highlights of the program, something's going on with my screen. I apologize. Some of the highlights of the program, I think, are variety. You are surrounded with 10 co-residents assigned to the Illinois College of Optometry, which builds great camaraderie, as well as collegiality and the ability to get advice on different cases. With low vision rehabilitation, you're always seeing a variety of ocular diseases. So it's helpful to be able to bounce ideas off of the cornea contact lens resident, the pediatrics resident, and the ocular disease residents, certainly. The variety of the program, as well as I mentioned, pediatrics, is just the daily variety. Each resident spends 1 day a week assigned to the Chicago Lighthouse, either at the downtown clinic or at our clinic in Glenview. It offers a variety of patients and a variety of ocular disease causing low vision. So certainly if you're a creature of habit, this might not be the residency for you, but if you're someone that thrives on change and a new environment, I think it's a really stimulating environment, as well as many of the other presenters tonight have mentioned their residencies expanding to 2 residents. I think that's a huge plus, having a co-resident to talk about your cases, to help prepare for grand rounds, and being in a similar field of study, I think is very helpful. We do have weekly conference sessions. Our weekly conferences are in urgent care, as well as Dr. McLeod organizes for all of the on-campus residents a weekly session of variety of instruction. And then I, as the coordinator, meet with the 2 residents specific to low vision rehabilitation, journal reviews, and discussion on management of cases. As far as where residents end up, our residents have gone on, many to academic fields, having participated in an academic residency, many to primary care, OD/MD practices where they're providing low vision and primary optometric services because of their experience in ocular disease, and many at prestigious clinics, including Mayo Clinic, Mass Eye Ear, Wilmer Eye Institute, Vanderbilt, and Berkeley, just to name a few. One of the other highlights of the program is certainly that we stay on top of comprehensive model of care and providing a variety of technology, both at the Illinois Eye Institute as an academic center. They have OCTs, electrodiagnostics. That's also reflected at the Lighthouse Low Vision Clinic. We also have a microperimeter, which is unique to some places with low vision and is really helpful to identify macular pathology, as well as PRLs and eccentric viewing points, and provide training and feedback. You also will rotate with the occupational therapists, the orientation mobility instructors, and the psychologists who provide comprehensive care at the Lighthouse. So a lot of opportunity for interdisciplinary referral and understanding of that those professions. Our current residents are Dr. Natasha Merchant and Dr. Melissa Caceres, and they'll be joining us later on for the question and answer session. My email's up here. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to talk about our on-campus pediatric and binocular vision residency, because unfortunately the coordinator, Dr. Allison, couldn't be here tonight. So it's a program with 2 residents on campus, obviously. So it's a little more heavily weighted towards peds, about 60% and 40% VT. And you can see from this list here the type of patients that you'll be exposed to: strabismus, amblyopia, lots of binocular vision accommodative and ocular motor disorders, visually related learning problems. And then you'll be examining not only children, but even infants as well, and then people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And then also some head trauma patients. So similar to the other on-campus programs, on Friday we have an urgent care conference in the morning. So as the pediatric resident, you still have 1 shift in urgent care every week. So we get together on Fridays, all 10 residents, to talk about urgent care cases, and in the afternoon, different didactic topics. So it's nice that you have that kind of mix of what you get to hear about the other residencies, different topics that aren't exactly in your residency. So, you know, you get to also interact with the 10 on-campus residents all the time. You are also responsible for 3 grand round presentations. And in terms of rotation with peds and VT, in the first half of the program, you're doing more direct care. In the second half of the program, you're doing a mix of direct care as well as precepting third and fourth year students, rotating through those services. So it's about at least 40 hours per week with direct care again and precepting, depending on the time of the year. Urgent care every week, and then again, those educational conferences that I mentioned. And then there's also opportunities for research, especially like myopia management and things like that, if that's something you're interested in. And so here's the contact information for Dr. Allison, the coordinator, as well as our current residents. Dr. Randall, do you want me to change the slides or you want to change them? Oh, she's having some difficulties with her mic. Should we come back to you? Should we do cornea contact lens first, or do you want to try to get it working right now? I think we may have heard. We hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, we hear you now.
So weird. It says it's muted. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so my camera for some reason isn't connecting, but you can hear me. So my name is Dr. Harni Randawa. I am the coordinator for the Ocular Disease and Primary Care Residency at ICO. Some unique things I do want to kind of highlight about this program, kind of piggybacking off of what Dr. Crumbliss and Dr. McLeod have already mentioned. You do see a large volume of patients at the IEI with complex oculosystemic disease. So every year our residents see upwards of about 2,400 patients within their residency year. You also do get some on-call and urgent care experience, which really helps in strengthening your triaging skills. And you get to rotate that on-call phone with your 4 other disease residents as well as the 2 vision rehabilitation residents. So it's really nice. You can map out your year. You know, if there's any, weekends that you won't be able to be on call, you'll be able to plan that accordingly. But it's really where residents see exponential growth in their triaging and clinical skills and just becoming really comfortable with managing the unknown. You also have the ability to tailor your experience. So it's not mandatory, but you have the option to pick an elective rotation that would take the place of one of your advanced care or primary care sessions. So if you're somebody who wants to dabble a little bit more in academia, there's teaching opportunities in lab or didactic classes. You can pick up a specialty contact lens or basic contact lens session, pediatrics, binocular vision, and then vision rehabilitation. So there are some skills that you might not want to lose or you might want to keep fresh as you come out of your 4th year, and you'll want to continue them in practice. So you have the opportunity to continue practicing those in your residency year. You also get to work alongside highly trained residency faculty and doctors with a variety of expertise and backgrounds and gain confidence working in an interdisciplinary setting while practicing full scope optometry. So we're very fortunate at the Illinois Eye Institute to have oculoplastics, cornea, glaucoma and cataract surgeons, general ophthalmology and retina surgeons come on campus, but several of our retina, glaucoma, and even our neuro clinic are run by ODs. So being able to see how these complex cases are managed while practicing full scope optometry is really a unique experience to the IEI. And then, as mentioned earlier, we do have clinical educational conferences. So urgent care conference, where you get to share your unique and interesting cases every week, every Friday morning. And then we have a different residency conference program on Friday afternoons. And sometimes these are in-house speakers as well as outside speakers that are scheduled by Dr. McLeod. And then you also have the opportunity to join faculty conferences that are pertinent to residents and information that they need to know. Our residents do present 3 grand rounds, so fall, winter, and spring, as well as there's other presenting opportunities to, present certain cases. It's sometimes in lectures if you're more interested in that. We do help prepare you for that. So if you have no experience in public speaking, no worries. We practice, we help you prepare that so that you can get comfortable with public speaking. And then this is a sample schedule. The schedule does change quarterly, which is nice because it allows you to rotate through the different advanced care sessions at the IEI. And really from July to November, the first half of the year, when you're in primary care, you're doing primarily direct care. And then from November to the end of the year, you do start precepting in primary care and urgent care. We believe in a progressive autonomy. We want you to gain, confidence in your clinical independence in managing these cases, but attendings will always be available for consultation the entire year, which is really, really nice. The 2 sessions that kind of stay the same for our disease residents is whatever urgent care session you're assigned to for the year, that will be your session throughout the entire year. So it's really great for making sure, you have a session for your follow-ups. And then Friday afternoon, we do not have any clinic for our disease residents. That's really time to work on development, scholarly activity, as well as attend your conferences that are scheduled. And then Saturdays, you will have off, so weekends are to yourself, except when you're on call. Some perks, you get your own office, which is really nice, again, for development, working on charts, so you can get some quiet time to work on things that you need to get done. Access to ICO's library resources. They can help you, research topics if you're preparing for grand rounds or research papers, and then career development and financial aid offices as well. We also provide medical and dental insurance, cover travel expenses to present at national meetings. So all 5 of our disease residents attended Academy this year in Boston, as well as presented their poster presentations there. And then one aspect that I really love about this residency is the camaraderie and collaboration. So you have 4 other disease co-residents. All of your offices are in the same hallway along with my office, but then you also have your 5 specialty residents. So it really makes for a unique experience where there's collaboration and support throughout the entire year. So our disease residency does prepare you all for a career in academia, but every year our graduates do go on to work in all aspects of optometric practice. So that includes OD/MD practices, private practice, VA staff, hospital settings, and commercial practice. So you're really well prepared to practice in any modality of optometry after you leave from here. My contact information is here, as well as our 5 disease residents. They're very friendly, so please feel free to reach out to them, and they'll be on the call afterwards for the Q&A.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Am I able to push this button? Let's see if it works. So I'm really glad that worked this time. That's actually our resident from last year, Dr. Kyle Martin. Our resident this year is Dr. Will Skoog, and I am Stephanie Fromstein. I'm the coordinator of the Cornea and Contact Lens and Ocular Disease Residency on campus at the Illinois College of Optometry. Just navigating forward. All right. Dr. McLeod, can you just confirm that you're seeing the schedule?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my slides are being a little bit funny. So by far the most common question that I get is what an average week looks like for one of our residents. Monday is a great day to have off. You still get your full 2 days in a row. You have Sunday and Monday off. There are sometimes residents who elect to do additional sessions on their Mondays, neuro, some of the cornea sessions, some glaucoma sessions take place then. You are absolutely not required. We just have some really enthusiastic residents who elect to do that. Tuesday, you are at a private practice. It is in the northwest suburbs. You're working with diplomates and very, very excellent contact lens fitters. You have your own schedule of patients. So they're a no insurance practice. And what they do is they set up an individual schedule for our resident at half the cost of what some of the ODs are charging. And so you get patients who are just there to see you, which is really important to me because I never want our resident to feel like they're doing anything other than being the doctor that they should be. The doctors that you get to work with there are always there to talk with and to ask questions of, and they're really, really wonderful people. So that's always a pretty high up part of the residency program. Wednesday, all day, all the very long day, as Dr. Skoog can tell you, you're at the Cornea Center for Clinical Excellence on ICO on campus. You have 3 sessions, depending on what time of year we're talking about. That can go from 3 sessions of direct care to some combination of direct care and precepting. You see a wide variety of anterior segment disease cases, of specialty lens cases, of myopia control. So all different lens types, all different patient types. We have a huge population of keratoconic patients that we serve. So you really do get a wide variety of experiences that way. But we really do believe that you are an optometrist first and foremost. So we don't want you to lose the rest of the eyeball while focusing so much on cornea and contact lens. So Thursday morning is an advanced care shift. So once a month, you're with a cornea specialist, an OMD who comes on campus, sees our referral cases. You work alongside both the OMD as well as myself and the chief of the service, Dr. Harthen. We all sort of work together to see these more complicated patients together. You also rotate through retina and glaucoma services, either with the OMDs or the ODs on campus. So you don't lose your skills in the other departments, since this is a contact lens residency, but also an ocular disease residency. On Friday mornings, you have your urgent care session as well as your urgent care seminar, which some of the other on-campus coordinators have spoken about. You see the whole gamut of front to back of the eye, trauma, infection, inflammation, you name it, we've seen it. And I always like when people come in for interviews to sort of share some of the cases, and they're pretty incredulous at what walks into our front door. And then last but not least, on Saturday, you're back in the Cornea Center for Clinical Excellence, seeing, again, a wide variety of contact lens, anterior segment disease. An easy morning, 9 to 12, it always is one of our favorite sessions. So you're really doing something different every day of the week. I did this residency personally, and the year flies by because every day of the week is a different thing. And I think it really makes for an extraordinarily well-rounded resident at the end of the year. I'll quickly move through a few FAQs, though you're free to reach out with any further questions. You are doing both precepting and direct care over the course of the year, but you start with only direct care. We don't think it's fair to throw you into the deep end before you necessarily know how to swim. So you start exclusively direct care. You move into more of a 50-50 mix of the two, but there are always people there to answer questions. You're never alone. You should never feel like you have to have all the answers yourself. That's one of the things that I love the best about our department is we're this family who works together, especially on the more complicated conditions. You're going to see everything. People ask me this all the time, like, what kind of lenses do you see? And I say, there's no lenses that we don't see. We see sclerals, we see corneal GPs, we see specialty soft, we see piggyback, we see ortho K, we see every lens, and every practitioner likes a different lens. And so you get to hear all these different opinions on how to fit these patients and make your own judgments moving forward. That's really what we want to do, is teach you to make choices based on all of these different inputs. As with the other on-campus residencies, you do have lab responsibilities both in the basic and the specialty contact lens lab. We do encourage research. Almost every one of our recent residents has done a research project, either been involved in one of the research projects that we're doing or sort of pushed forward their own research question and found an answer. And there is some flexibility in scheduling. So as I alluded to before, you can certainly take on additional sessions or replace a session with any of the on-campus specialties that we have, and we have just about every single one. Our goal is to have someone who is a wonderful contact lens fitter. You should feel comfortable fitting the gamut of specialty lenses, treating the gamut of anterior segment disease, but also be well-rounded enough to feel really comfortable with everything else. So if you have any further questions, you can feel free to email myself or the current resident, Dr. Skoog, who's also going to be on right now to answer questions. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to open it up to questions. Please feel free to type questions in the chat or just unmute yourself. Residents, if you don't mind turning on your cameras. So as we wait for a question, maybe we can go around and say like a favorite part of our residency or something that made us choose our residency. Dr. Lancaster, do you want to start since you're the first on my screen to pop up?
Sure, yeah, no problem. So I'm doing the residency at ICO in ocular disease primary care. And I would say one of the major reasons I chose it was just so when I was done with residency, I would feel, as Dr. Mandawa spoke of, like comfortable with anything that walked in the door in the future. But also too, it's like really nice to have a great camaraderie among everyone. We have 10 total residents, and we're a really close group, and we always are messaging each other. I just messaged the 2 peds residents about my niece, so it's great to have that kind of family together as well.
Dr. Shannon, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm the resident at the University of Chicago. So it's ocular disease. And I chose my residency because I just wanted to have a very well-rounded experience in ocular disease, the opportunity to work with ophthalmology, and just, learn as much as possible after my residency. And so far I've gotten more than what I've asked for. So it's been a great experience.
Dr. Skorthas, do you want to go?
Sure. I'm at the James A. Lovell Federal Healthcare Center in North Chicago, and I chose this residency because you're completely independent right away, but you have the kindest people around who can collaborate with you, and you can ask any questions, and they can look at anything that you're not too sure about.
Dr. Nichols?
Yeah, I am at the Illinois Eye Institute. I'm one of the ocular disease primary care residents with Dr. Lancaster. And I just echo what everyone said. I really love this residency for the camaraderie and just, being able to systematically think through anything that you are going to have in your chair. I also really like being able to rotate through other clinics. So I was in the pediatric clinic and lab for second years last quarter. And then this quarter, I'm in a specialty contact lens shift.
Dr. Pendleton, do you want to talk about Pete since we mentioned?
Yeah, of course. So I'm one of the pediatric binocular vision residents. So the main reason I wanted to do residency was because I didn't feel done after optometry school. We commit to optometry as being lifelong learners. And I specifically applied to schools and colleges of optometry because I felt like that was going to be the position for me that I would learn and get the most experience at an academic institution. So that's kind of why I ended up at ICO, and I'm learning every day. I also really, really like that I can have co-residents to bounce ideas off of. I know a lot of people might be independent workers. Personally, I just really like having that option to bounce ideas off of and always ask questions and, get the knowledge base up and learn every single day. So yeah, those are the two main reasons.
Dr. Caceres?
Hello, everyone. I am one of the low vision residents at ICO. Again, I echo all of my co-residents' previous comments, and I really agree with Dr. Crumbliss and how she said your week just like switches up and you get to see a wide variety of things. And that's been really nice. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps things changing. I chose ICO for a number of reasons. One of them was I fell in love with low vision because of the geriatric component, but now being here and having pediatric low vision exposure too has really opened up my eyes to the scope of practice. You get to keep your skills sharp in urgent care and in other areas. And, the precepting aspect is nice to be able to work with students and learn along with them has really been a good experience. So recommend a residency for anyone, but ICO has been a great choice so far.
Dr. Skew?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm the cornea contact lens resident at ICO. And just to kind of echo what Dr. Fromstein said, we have a very unique patient population at ICO. A lot of patients with some pretty advanced corneal disease, so you get the experience of fitting every type of specialty lens. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to do a residency, was to become proficient in all different types of specialty lenses and not just kind of have one thing in my back pocket. And then what my other co-residents have said, having 10 total of us at ICO is really helpful to, bounce ideas off of each other. We have interesting cases to kind of touch base and get other people's ideas and thoughts, and kind of learn from how other people would approach things. So.
Dr. Hugel, are you on?
Yes, I am. So I'm at Associated Eye Care up in Stillwater, Minnesota, and I love my experience I've had thus far. So I'm currently at an OD/MD private practice, and I have loved every moment of it thus far. It's a great collaboration. I work actually very closely with the optometrist as well as the ophthalmologist, and it's just a great way to it's one thing to see it on the optometrist side, and when you refer a patient, it's really nice. I've been able to follow up with my patients actually in the OR and then also in the postoperative care. So does have an emphasis on anterior segment. The biggest thing I would say that I've gotten out of this residency between the collaboration is just being able to see my follow-ups and being able to see, okay, what treatment plan is working, what's not working, because as everybody tells you during school, what you see out in the real world is not exactly textbook. So it's been really nice to have the guidance from all of the providers with me, as well as kind of having my own emergency clinic. So I've enjoyed it a lot thus far.
Dr. Trask, do you want to go next?
Hey guys. So of course, all the co-residents are amazing. I'm one of the pediatric residents at the college and really loving it so far. I picked ICO largely because I really wanted to go to an academic institution that wasn't where I graduated from. I wanted to experience new ways of looking at things, new approaches, and just generally get to know what else is out there other than what I'd learned in school. And it was a really big adjustment, but it really helps. And I really appreciate all the new things that I'm learning, all the different ways of thinking that I'm getting to experience in addition to what I knew coming in. And I think that it made a really big difference in how I'm going to go after residency. But we have 7 out of 10 of our current in-house residents that graduated from ICO, and they're all still learning really great things, really enjoying their time. So it does, like, do what's best for you, but residency is great. So
Dr. Francis and Dr. Perez, do you want to answer this question, or we can move on to one of the questions in the chat? I'm going to let you decide.
I can, in the chat. Okay, so the question was there anything you didn't expect to encounter in your residency that you've experienced so far? I would say for me, just the level of confidence and how quickly I got there. I think I wasn't really expecting to be to know as much as I do now. I was kind of expecting that later. There is kind of a steep learning curve, but like everyone said, there's so many attending and so many colleagues to kind of bounce ideas off of. But I think what shocked me the most was just how quickly you kind of just soak everything in, soak everything up to start. So I just wasn't expecting this level until kind of later on, but it's just been a pleasant surprise. And another thing I'd like to just reiterate, it's just really good to have such awesome faculty members, as well as this great group of residents to kind of lean on and bounce ideas off of. So that would be for me that I can think of right up on the spot.
Yeah, I can definitely echo that for sure. I think also from my experience, I felt, maybe I'd have to be a lot more independent. And by all means, we do get our independence as residents. But the fact that we have so many amazing doctors ready to, catch us, especially in the early along the way, that are there so willingly, and they're so friendly and just so willing to help us out with any question. They're just a text message away and super approachable. So that was a fantastic kind of aspect that I did not actually expect. I thought it was going to be a lot more kind of throw them into the come in with the wolves, but it's been great because it's a very nurturing environment while still encouraging you to be your independent self and an independent practitioner. And along with what Randy said, yeah, the confidence that just kind of comes in all of a sudden is very interesting, especially now as a preceptor. Now that we've shifted roles, it's nice to see where you've become a confident clinician and you know how to advise, especially in an environment where it's in an academic setting, and just allows you to kind of share everything you have learned, especially as a recent graduate. You're definitely somebody that students can kind of feed off of a little bit and kind of get a nice perspective from.
Okay, I'm going to open this up to anybody. Any advice that you would give a residency applicant, like when you were in their shoes a year ago?
Yeah, I can go. I think the biggest thing is that, it's still like a job, and you want to have fun and enjoy what you're doing. So I think, when you're interviewing, be yourself on the interview, be yourself in, what materials you apply with, because in the end, you still want to enjoy your year of residency. And, if you're not having fun, then, you really shouldn't do it. Make sure you really feel like you feel comfortable with the staff that you're going to be working with. And you also ask your questions that you really even if they're hard hitting, it may seem a little intense. I think that's the best way to get the information you want, because it is a job and it is a full year of your life. And, it's just important to get out of it what you want.
I'll go ahead and answer that question too. So I completely agree with what Alyssa said, but just along with it, I think it's important to, even offline, talk to previous residents and have that one-on-one conversation, because it can be even intimidating in this setting to ask certain questions. But then the next thing would be that, you know, if you're moving from out of town, if you have the opportunity to visit the city or the site that you're going to, I know that some places you can only interview on through Zoom or virtually, but just being in that city, even if you can't visit the site, just like seeing if you can see yourself there. I would just say that that's just one other thing that can really help make a decision.
I completely agree with Dana. So it's kind of just similar to whenever we apply to optometry school, do your research, reach out to the current residents, figure out pros and cons. You're going to learn something somewhere. It's just trying to figure out what is going to be best for you. And you really have to kind of, which obviously they're going to ask you probably in the interview, you have to be able to answer, why do you want to do the residency? What are your goals you get out of the residency? And I think that was the biggest answer for me to help me kind of narrow down exactly what residency program I was looking at and which ones I wanted to apply to versus which ones I was ranking. Because yeah, a year is a long time, but at the same time, enjoy the year, do your research, ask the questions. No residency program is perfect, but there's a lot of them that are very, very close and they hit all of the everything that you're looking for. So do your research, enjoy this whole process. And it's just a great way to practice interview questions and kind of one step forward to your future long-term goals. So enjoy the process, have fun, and you're going to love your residency regardless. You're going to learn a lot. So just, I don't want to say enjoy the ride, but kind of.
Kind of adding into this topic, I guess, when you're going through and, visiting, interviewing, things like that, if you really don't vibe with a site and you really don't think that you would be a good match, do not rank them, because I feel like most people, like most current residents, all have at least one friend that they ranked a site that they probably shouldn't have, and then they ended up at that site. So, only rank places you could actually see yourself going for a year. And if you don't match, there's always the post-match scramble that you can apply for. And a lot of really great residencies find a really great residence that way. So sometimes it's just how the algorithm works, but really be confident that you're willing to go to somewhere if you're going to rank it.
I love the comment there. Trust your gut. Can you guys share about how many sites you applied for or interviewed with, and like how long or how did you make your decisions on how many to apply to?
I can speak on that. So, hi, it's Dr. Merchant, Natasha. I went to school in Puerto Rico, and obviously I'm at ICO now. I'm one of the low vision residents. I applied to 5 sites, and I interviewed at all 5 of them, but I only ranked 3 of them because that's just how it went. And obviously ICO was number 1. I rotated through the lighthouse as a 4th year and knew I wanted to stay at the lighthouse or be involved somewhere with the lighthouse because I just loved learning there and I love the resources that we were able to provide the patients with, like occupational therapy, psych services. And it's just a bonus to be at ICO now and have all my wonderful residents. And we're all a pretty good group of friends now, and we're working together through this tough year. So it's been a long year so far, and make sure you're going into residency knowing that it's going to be a long year with a lot of work, but it's definitely really rewarding. And I know we all have those days where we're like, oh my God, why did I do this? But then we have the next day where we're like, this is awesome. Like, we're learning so much. So that's just my 2 cents.
I would also add, when I was ranking my sites, I was in between 2, and it just like went back and forth for a long time. Consider how you feel about being a single resident at a site by yourself versus having a group of colleagues. I think for a lot of people that makes a big difference. I was someone my 4th year who did externship sites. All my rotations were by myself. And it worked that way, but I also kind of wanted to mix it up and be with other colleagues and co-residents. So kind of weigh what's important to you and prioritize that, and then, definitely apply that to how you rank.
Along that note, I would also say if you happen to interview virtually at some places and in person at others, think about like how that affects your decision making. I had one place that I interviewed at in person versus interviewing online, and there were certain things that bothered me about the place that I interviewed in person, like this I felt like some people were late a lot of the time, or like just random things, and I realized that the places I interviewed with virtually didn't have the chance to show me that. So take certain things with a grain of salt.
I see the biggest thing for me, just bouncing off of what Dr. Casera said, was I just made a list of pros and cons, but also things that were very important to me or I needed in a residency versus things that would be nice. So one of the things was, having co-residents was a big thing for me, and just the diversity of the clinics, things like that. So I'm just a list person maybe, but just make make a list of things that you ideally would love, or things that you really need in a residency for you to succeed in it, and for you to make it worthwhile for doing the residency.
And going off of what Dr. Francis said really quickly, make sure you get a really good idea of what the patient population is like. For me, I was not ready to go to a residency that wasn't going to be challenging, because that was the whole point to me. I wanted to be challenged and to see really complex cases and grow in my management skills. And so I went to ICO, and I just really wasn't willing to give up how great our patient population is, and how I've been seeing patients here for however many years now, and still every single patient I learn something new. So if you are unfamiliar with the patient population at that residency site, just ask and make sure you have a really good feel for what type of patients you will be seeing for that year.
Did you guys consider what you would do after residency as a goal to help you decide, like you want to be in private practice, a VA, or academia? Did that factor into your choices of residency?
I can talk on that too. I think more generally, I just really didn't want to limit myself after I was done with graduation, in case at any point, I did want to work at an academic institution or a hospital. I never wanted to look back and say, oh, I would have loved to work there, but really they're only hiring residency trained doctors. So more generally, I guess, than saying, oh, I wanted to work at this specific place or in this practice modality, I just didn't want to limit myself in that way.
I think also considering, so I knew I wanted a site that I would actually be able to precept and work with students. I didn't know if I wanted to go that extra step and work in academia per se, but I definitely enjoy working with students. So I wanted a residency that I would have the opportunity to precept. I'm currently precepting now, and I love it. It has further confirmed the fact that I do enjoy a little bit of teaching. Again, I don't know if I will see myself in academia. However, just as Dr. Nicole said, we're not limiting ourselves, by doing a residency, taking that next step, expanding, all of your opportunities, you're not closing a door. So again, think also long term, if you see yourself in academia, maybe doing a residency at a school would kind of then open the door for that one next step to be directly at a school. Or in my instance, being at an OD/MD, working with students, I know I now can confirm, and maybe I'll be a residency site one day. Maybe I'll have my own, extern site for students. So it's one extra thing that you can say that you have experience in that would make you a more competitive candidate in the future. So it's nice just to keep your options open and then what you want long term.
I agree. Residency opens all those career doors, guys. Okay, I'm going to give it one more minute for any other questions while we're waiting. Anything you guys want to add, just feel free to add. Last call for those questions.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, there's so many great residencies. Like I didn't realize it until I started looking seriously. And, I think like location for me was big. I wanted to be in a big city, but like there's so many great programs that are like so well run and like so specific to certain things. I just think it's great to like look and really like think about like what do I want to practice in? Because there are like tons of great programs. So just like take your time and look and do the research, and you'll definitely find something for you if you're interested.
I would also just add, if you have any questions or, you're not sure about a site, feel free to email any of us. We would love to set up like a Teams meeting with you. That was really helpful for me when I was going through the process. Emails are great too, but if you're like, oh, I wonder if I'll vibe with these people or what they're like, we are more than happy to do a Teams meeting with you so you can kind of like see more of our personality via video versus here's an email answering your questions.
And with that, I know that there was one place that I sent someone an email and then we like followed up on that email with a phone call so that she could answer my questions in real time, but she also had my questions ahead of time, and that was really helpful.
I know this was kind of already reiterated, but don't feel like you have to rank all of the programs that you apply to. If you're interested, go ahead and apply and see, if this is something that would be a good fit for you, because, you can learn as much as you want, but then sometimes a lot of your questions don't get answered until you go through the whole interview process. So, if you're interested, still apply, and then just, you don't have to rank it if it's not, if it hasn't resonated with everything that you're looking for. So don't feel like you're pressured to rank all of them. So again, go with your gut and rank what you think would be beneficial for you long term.
All right, I want to thank everyone who participated tonight and everyone who came. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Please feel free to reach out to all of us, the individual coordinators, or me, and I can help you get in touch with the coordinators or the current residents. Have a good night.